Hi again. Let's talk a little more about React and components, okay, and JSX. This will pick up where the last video left off. So far we've got just a simple component that displays a message. This doesn't seem super useful. I mean, really, you can just put a message in there. I mean, we could have just written the tag and put the text inside the tag, and it would have been as much work, maybe less work, right? So where can this save us time, right? So there's a lot that this can do. We're just scratching the surface, but let's imagine that what we really want to do with the hello component is we want to create a list. Actually, why don't we even just make a whole new component, right? Let's make a component here called listy. Okay, so the listy component is going to follow the same rule here. We'll just make a function. It'll be a simple component. Components always start with an uppercase letter. We'll include props, right? So they always receive props as a variable, and then they must return some JSX. So the listy component wants to return a UL, okay? And then we're going to insert some list items in here. Okay, so probably the best way to write this is to have a space between the two ULs. When you're writing JSX, that doesn't work. You're not allowed to have a line return here if you're returning a JSX component. Okay, what you can do though is you can do this. If I put the parentheses around the JSX component like that, then I'm allowed to have a line return. Okay, so we can do this, and maybe I'll write it like that, and then that'll look good, right? So as long as we got the parentheses here, then we can write, a component on multiple lines. Okay, so now what I'd like to do is I'd like to print out a number of list items here. Okay, but what I want to do is I want to pass in an array of items as one of the properties of props, and then display those list items here, okay? And then maybe also our list might have a title, okay? So I'll put in H1 here, and imagine we want to have the title here, and then we want to have some list items down here, okay? Now, if you recall from the last discussion, if you have multiple tags, they have to be surrounded by one tag. So you can only have one top level, or you're required to have one top level tag. So, I kind of have a problem here because I have these two tags now, right? So what I'll do is I'll put a div around everybody, right? Okay, so now we're making a little more complicated component, right? And then maybe I'll tab that, right? So I'll put the title here, and then I'm going to put some list items here. Okay, so let's imagine that we're going to pass the title in as a property of props. So if you recall, when you pass in some variables and you want to actually use JavaScript inside your JSX, what you'll do is you'll use the curly brackets. So we'll say props.title. Okay, so if props has a key value of title, then the value for that key will be printed here. Okay, so now what I want to do is imagine that our props has an item called list, and I want to convert that list into a whole bunch of list items. So for every item, imagine this is an array. For every item in that array, I want to create a JSX li tag with the content of that item in the array, right? So what we'll do is we'll need to let's just imagine that we're going to pass in an array that'll have a bunch of values, so it'll be something like this. It'll be like a bunch of names or strings, say, right? So what I'll need to do is convert each one of these strings into some JSX, like a list tag, and then I'll want to list them all here, right? Okay, so what we'll need to do is we'll need to map this array to an array of list items, or JSX list items, right? So let's do that. Let's say const list equals props dot list, right, dot map. Okay, so here's our map function. Remember, map takes in a value here. Let's call that item. And then it returns some, thing, right? Could be anything, right? But we'll use item to make a thing. And what we want to do is we want to return some JSX, right? A list item. And then we want to put the item in here, right? But remember, since item is a variable and we want to put the value here, we'll have to wrap it in curly braces, okay? So that looks okay there. And then now we can take this list and print it right here. So remember, we wanted to put the props list here, but what we did is we mapped the props list to a list of JSX elements. We need a semicolon there, right? So we want to map that so it kind of draws itself correctly down here. And now we've got a variable inside this function. It's a local variable, and we can just use that variable inside here. Now, React is very smart, and it sees that if you have an array of JSX items, it will iterate that array for us. So we don't actually even have to use a for loop or anything for this particular maneuver. Let me put this here. Maybe that reads a little better. Okay, so we'll save that, and then now what we'll need to do is when we call on listy to list these things, what we'll do is we'll say, listy list is equal to this array. But remember, since it's a JSX element, we'll have to wrap the array in curly braces. And then we've also got this property here called title. So what we'll do is we'll say title equals my list. Okay, and then we could close off our JSX element like that. Let's give it a try. So I'll just copy this. This was my sample, right, as a comment there. I'm going to go down to the bottom here, and I've got my hello message there. Maybe I'll put my list right after the two hello messages, right? And then let's give it a try. So I'll save that, and I'll refresh here, and then you can see my list is the title, and then the items are listed as ABC, right? And then if we wanted to modify the list, like, instead of doing A, we want to do like fruit. So I'll do apples, bananas, or apple, banana, and cherry, right? So it'll all be fruit. And then instead of my list, we'll say fruits. Okay, so we'll save that, and then we'll refresh here, and now it says fruits in my list. So now this, if we look at that, we're starting to really save ourselves time, right? Because this data could have been imported from, a server. It could come from anywhere, and our list will list it out. And our list, we might have lots of different things that we want to list. So we don't have to write the code for the list over and over again. We just make a copy of the component and pass in an array, and then it creates all the list items and all the stuff that goes with them, right? So one more thing on this listing stuff, right? Anytime React wants to create a list of things, all of those things should have a key value. And you'll see, actually, I don't have it open here, but when I open up the inspector, you'll see I get an error here, right? And it's really just a warning, so it didn't stop it from running. But if I go to the console and I look, you can see it says, warning, each child in an array or iterator must have a unique key prop. Okay, check the render method, blah, 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 and listy, right? It kind of tells me, and it says, hey, you're missing a key. And this is actually a little thing used by React to optimize how things are displayed on the screen and how it can work with stuff. So really, every React element gets a unique ID, and when we create a bunch of list items here, each one of these needs a unique ID. So you can use anything for the ID. Maybe we'll do this. Map returns the item, and it also returns the index. So we can use the index as our key, okay? So what we'll do is, and remember, props are added to an element via attributes. So we'll say key, and then we'll put the index here. And remember, if we wrap JavaScript with the curly braces, then that kind of is rendered as JavaScript rather than just a value. So we'll put index here, and the value of index will be, assigned to the key attribute. Okay. So let's save that, and we'll refresh this, and our error goes away, right? And it doesn't show anything different here, but internally it assigned an attribute to each of these elements. And we'll actually, why don't we just go inspect those, right? You'll see if I open them up in the inspector here, you can see here is, actually let me zoom in on that, right? Here is my my li tag. Actually, you know what? Safari isn't showing it, but it's kind of just showing me the raw HTML. But this would have actually have a key, an attribute that's key, and it'll be a special key. Our key value, right, would show up there. But anyway, that's what it's doing, right? So now internally, React has a way to identify each one of these items uniquely, and that helps React when it renders things. It helps it render it more efficiently, okay? So anyway, that's how we work with lists and iterators and simple functions and properties, right? So anyway, I hope that's helpful, and you should experiment with that, make your own list, and see if you can get it to work, okay? Good luck. Thanks.